As you know, they say their Social Security is the third rail of politics. The third rail of fixing the real estate problem is what you mentioned, is writing down principal.
Right.
It's some folks say it's a moral hazard. A lot of folks who are homeowners who make their payments say, why my neighbor? Why not me? We're personally, you have 35 years in the business. Where do you come down on this argument?
Well, I can see all sides, but there is the reality that until the housing sector, which accounts for a lot of the GDP, I think it used to be 16% of GDP nationally. I'm sure that varies.
I know new home construction, real quick, they say every new home is worth 3 jobs, is worth $90,000 in taxes every year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes, absolutely. So I think from forget the ethical part of that question. From a financial perspective, yes, it makes sense to do that.
It would be healthy.
It would be healthy because it does.
Good.
You have construction jobs created. You have furniture, you've got designers, you've got appliances, and it does. That a home sale triggers a multitude of things that you put in the home, obviously, and that will trigger a lot of help in the economy on a positive side. So, yes.
There's a lot of plans. President Clinton has a plan. I'm sure an economist gave it to him, but that would allow folks, say, you can't make your mortgage. They would allow them to rent while they stay in their home, and then say $100,000 would be the write down, and if there would be some forgiveness, or you would split the difference and it would be a 0% loan if you played it over 10 years. Mm-hmm. So it's not an out-and-out giveaway where tomorrow you get a haircut on your mortgage.
Right. I think it's interesting. I haven't studied it enough, Pete, to really know the right answer to that, but it's good to have ideas, and especially from notable people, past presidents. I mean, I think it's time for the brain trust of the United States to figure out, okay, what we've done hasn't worked, what does work, and put the fine minds together and come up with ideas and run the numbers and see if there is an angle of something somebody missed. But I don't know if that's the way to do it either.
What we've heard for over a year now, more than that, about this robo-signing. It's an investigation. Some call it, what happened here? And now we understand California was going to be a big settlement with the banks. California backed out. What happened here? You know about this.
Right,
stuff.
We're familiar with the robo-signing thing. A lot of that impacted other states, and just the sheer volume and deluge of all these documents that have to get signed. I mean, if you've ever done a mortgage loan and signed documents as a consumer,
scary.
There used to be a tree, it was 1,500 pages that long. It can be a foot thick of paperwork now. So what happened with all these bank-owned foreclosures and notices to foreclose, they just had people signing things left and right, that they were certifying things they didn't know. Yes, that was wrong. There were some frauds that shouldn't have happened. But in California, the impact, because of trust deed laws versus mortgage laws in other states, wasn't as much of an impact. But the banks froze and they stopped foreclosing for a while to analyze nationally. Did they have problems in all states or some states? And I think it came out to the some state situation, and then all of a sudden they kicked in. And now they're starting to file more notice of defaults currently.
The Fed chief himself is urging better housing policies to help the market recover. So if you got the Federal Reserve chairman saying...
We like Mr. Bernanke. I mean, I think if you're a politician or if you're, the Fed or somebody like that, and you understand how the money flow works and what real estate is as a dynamic part of the economy, or a detriment depending on which part of it you're in, clearly housing has to be one of the solutions, if not the solution. I mean, car sales I think are improving and other assorted things, but the number of jobs it does drive and the money that spins off the sale of a house would really be valuable if they could figure that formula out. So we like Mr. Bernanke this week.
Always like
this week.
Well, the last couple of years at 4% mortgage.
Yeah, he's not doing too bad.
He gets some credit there too.
Even below 4, by the way.
Always like to elicit some good retail advice from you, Phil. Let's start with the buyer. What are some common mistakes you take, whether it's a first-time buyer or it's a common mistakes they make, and in this market you think buyers should be doing?
Well, I think if you're a buyer, clearly if you're a renter, rents are likely to go up in Orange County, 5% a year. You do that for 5 more years, you're going to be up.
You don't see any bargains anymore when you see the
complexes. And the vacancy factors are,
down to 5%.
Yeah. So I think it's a great time to buy. You still get your tax deductions of your mortgage, obviously.
Better to buy early in the year and get the full deduction?
It doesn't matter. Buy when you're ready, when you save the down payment. Go to the lender first, get pre-qualified, and get a letter, not just pre-qualified, but pre-approved. Which there's a difference in terminology. Being approved means they've run all of your credit, they've looked at all your financials, and then you're really subject to an appraisal of a property. So pre-approved is the operative words you want to do as a buyer. And get that done, and then you'll know, predetermine what you can afford to go look at for housing, and go out with a great real estate agent, look at that in your market area you're interested in.
Gives you some buying leverage.
Buying leverage. Oh, not only that, it's inevitable you need it, so you might as well be smart and do it up front. And then secondly, you know, your agent knows what you're looking for, you know what you're looking for, price point. But at the end of the day, I think clearly it's October now, November, December, the fourth quarter. My favorite month is to buy. You know, December is the best month because anybody that's still selling that property is really got a reason for selling, and it could be a number of reasons.
Pick a rainy day.
Yeah, or the worst day, and write them an offer just before Christmas. They're just done with it. And but anyway, I actually buy investment property, and I look back, and over the years, most of my bought were in December because you get just the right situation. And but now with the interest rates again historically low, I'm sure they're going to stay low for a period of time on mortgages. Just get out there and start shopping heavily now. And don't be in the mix with everybody else come the spring summer market. You want to, as a buyer, not compete with all the other buyers in the market. You want to be out there, and there's plenty of inventory still to look at.
Seller, give me one thing. Set themselves apart from the other 10,000 homes out there.
Declutter your house and make it as pristine as possible. If it shows well, it's going to sell faster. You know, beyond the normal price. You know, price it right.
Bake some bread in the oven.
If you know how.
Don't burn the bread.
Don't burn it.
Last, we'll finish with a little anecdotal evidence that maybe things are picking up. You sell in Beverly Hills now, nearby Holmby Hills. Nice to see Jamie McCourt sold one of her 7 houses, 8 houses, the cheap one. The Holmby Hills home just sold for $6.5 million. She bought it for $6.5 million 7 years ago, 8,400 square feet. Any take on that?
She's lucky she got out at the same price, to be honest with you. It must be that celebrity thing that can add up to 30% value on some of those homes.
I think so. They've got a few more to move, though.
Yeah. I'm not sure how much that celebrity is good or bad on that one.
That's a little notorious. Phil Ilmo, the real estate guru, it's always a pleasure. Thank you
Pete.
very much.
Nice to see you.